calling this low-level acts of terrorism. This plays right into the NDAA. Oh, you are a protester, you are a terrorist, indefinite detention. Total denial of rights. Total denial of your First Amendment rights and all of your other rights if you're indefinitely detained. In other news, Groupon has canceled all of its gun-related deals. If you don't know what Groupon is, they are a service that provides a group coupon for various events, whether it might be skydiving or dining out, and yes, gun ranges. They have, I know in my area, they've had many excellent deals on shooting packages for the family. And they are discontinuing that because they, a major corporation, are playing into Obama and the collectivists' desires to see the Second Amendment become null and void. So I urge you to cease using Groupon. Often Groupon's making billions of dollars. There are many other ways to find good deals on things without going to a anti-gun group to do it. And if you are a customer of theirs, you should express your discontent with their new policy. I posted a motivational poster that I found online. I did not create it, and it has a picture of the Japanese internment camps of the early 1940s, and it was very popular on Tumblr, and it says, "Gun control, because our government would never turn on its citizens." Well, folks, this was only 70 years ago that Japanese Americans were American citizens, patriotic Americans at that. Some of the most decorated soldiers of World War II were of Japanese origin. And these people were herded into camps, as you know, total rights denial, indefinite detention. And if you think that this cannot happen again, you are sorely mistaken. It's evident today that no one in this country is paying attention to history because they are going to allow history to repeat itself. Don't be that person. When we come back from break, we are going to discuss an article that I wrote this week on gun control advocates exploiting religion. This week, Dianne Feinstein outlined her treasonous assault weapons ban of 2013, which highlights 157 weapons that will be banned if the bill passes. And when we come back from break, we will learn how she opened her introduction of the bill and the traitorous law enforcement officers and members of clergy who participated. Stay with us. We'll be right back. And welcome back to First Amendment Media's Free Speech Radio. I'm your host, Mr. Garbo. In our second segment tonight, we will be discussing Dianne Feinstein's exploitation of religion. Dianne Feinstein, the now self-proclaimed leader of the tyrannical gun control cabal, has found another avenue of exploitation to further her cause against liberty, and that's religion. In a nation where the church and state have been separated, in order to protect the church, because it's obvious now that the church has been infiltrated by the collectivists, the anti-gun forces, they are joining forces with the religious elements to deny you your rights. And before Dianne Feinstein, who is Jewish, certainly no expert on Christianity or should even be commenting on her religion that's not her own, invited Reverend Gary Hall, who is the head of the National Cathedral in Washington, to give a prayer before she introduced the assault weapons ban. That video is linked on both of the websites that we mentioned earlier, and I encourage you to watch it because watching it is much more powerful than listening to it. Although I do have a short clip of Reverend, and I have a hard time calling him that, Hall's speech and prayer.
Thank you, Senator Feinstein. It is an honor to be here today with you and to share in the work that you and your colleagues and Faiths United Against Gun Violence are doing. I've spoken twice at Washington National Cathedral on gun violence, and I've done it in the pulpit and in the media and in conversation with fellow faith leaders and with people in my own church. Now we have come to the end of the preaching part of our work, and we are moving forward today with a tangible solution to the epidemic as we stand with Senator Feinstein and with her congressional colleagues as they introduce this assault weapons ban. As people of faith, we have the moral obligation to stand with and for the victims of gun violence and to work to end it.
Right.
We've tolerated school shootings and mall shootings and theater shootings and sniper shootings and workplace shootings and temple and church shootings and urban neighborhood shootings for far too long. Enough is enough. Now, everyone in this city seems to live in terror of the gun lobby.
Yeah, you should live in terror.
But I believe that the gun lobby is no match for the cross lobby.
We're going to win.
Especially when we stand together as people of all faiths across the religious landscape of America. I don't want to take away someone's hunting rifle.
That's not what the Second
Amendment's
Amendment's
about. But I can no longer justify a society that allows people other than military and police to own weapons like these, or that permits the sale of high-capacity magazines designed with the purpose of simply killing as many people as quickly as possible. On behalf of all my interfaith colleagues, whom I stand here and represent today, I ask that you join me now in a brief moment of prayer as we come together around these consensual, middle-of-the-road, common-sense legal actions being proposed today.
Baloney. We're not listening to that. We're not listening to his prayer because he is not speaking to God. He is speaking to the tyrannical cabal who is taking away our rights. This man is a traitor, and he and his forces will lose. We will stand up to him, and we will defeat him with the pen, with legislation, and with activism. This man, this traitor, this so-called religious figure, who really, as I highlighted in my article, is hardly a religious figure. This man is a Unitarian Universalist, a front for communism, an interfaith minister who parades himself as a Christian. Side point, this man says, oh, just put the arms in the government's hands. Ordinary citizens ought not possess these weapons. Well, I beg to differ, sir. This man wants to put arms in the hands of government and police only. He has heard of the term democide, which is death by government, which was the largest cause of murder in the 20th century. In that 100-year period, well over 100 million. 100 million. Again, 100 million people killed at the hands of government. They were killed in places like Armenia, and in Germany, and in the Soviet Union, and in China, and in Vietnam, in Uganda, in Rwanda, and in continuing. And one theme stands out. The tyrants ban guns. The tyrants ban guns. They banned them. They disarmed the citizens. The citizens were murdered. This is not hype. This is not an opinion. This is historical fact. Historical fact. The tyrants take the guns. They murder the citizens. Let me ask you this. When the tyrants take the guns, what are the citizens to do? Are they going to defend themselves with sticks and stones? No. No, they're going to defend themselves with semi-automatic rifles. That's why we have them. And no one wants to use them. We are people of peace. 99.7% of gun owners in the United States never commit any sort of violent act with a gun. I have never committed a violent act with a gun. I own multiple firearms, and I have owned firearms since I have been legally of age. In fact, I owned firearms before that because I had a rifle purchased for me when I was a young teenager, although I only could use it under direct supervision because my parents were responsible people. But when I became of age, I exercised my Second Amendment rights immediately. And how many people have I killed with those firearms? 0. How many times have I considered killing someone with a firearm? 0. How many times have I even had a desire to kill someone with a firearm? 0. 0. Do I desire to kill anyone with a firearm right now? No. Gun owners are not a violent population. Criminals, gang members, and tyrants are violent. We already have laws in this country to prohibit them. My suggestion to the government is that they start enforcing those laws. That they say if you commit a crime with a firearm, you will be punished. And that is a direct certainty. That if you commit this crime, if you act violently, you will be punished. There is no question. You will be found, if you are found guilty, you will be punished. We already have laws to say if you have been determined by a court to be a threat to yourself or to the public because of your mental health status, you will not own guns until that issue has been resolved. But how often is it enforced? If we enforce some of the laws that we already have on the books, maybe we would cut down on some of the crime. But we don't. Instead, we don't enforce the laws, and we propose enacting new ones. Don't fool yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. These new laws are not for crime control. They are for citizen control. Because it is human nature to want to have more power than you should have. Our forefathers realized that because they saw it firsthand. They broke free of the most powerful tyrant in the world. And because we are stuck in a culture of video games and sports and television, we are too asleep to realize that. And that's how I'm going to close the program tonight. I wish you all peace. I pray for our leaders to come to their senses. And I bid you all a good night. Thanks for listening. This is First Amendment Media's Free Speech Radio. I'm Mr. Garbo, signing off.